Good morning and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. Today you've got myself, Stefan Tibur, who's going to be your naturalist for the next couple of hours, and just look at what we have managed to open up on. A great sighting of a herd of elephant busy drinking water. Isn't this just the most amazing thing to get right up off the cuff here, coming to you from the Africam Jamala camera here in Madikwe Game Reserve. Madikwe is in South Africa, right up on the Botswana border, so right in the northern part of South Africa, but right at the tip of the African continent, right at the bottom. Madikwe being the fourth largest game reserve that we have in South Africa and home to an enormous amount of elephant. Weather today in the eastern parts of this particular of South Africa, at least it's cloudy. Where I'm sitting, it's been cloudy and overcast and a bit windy, but as you can see, the weather is just absolutely spectacular. Clear blue skies. And just like that, 4 countries further north and a couple of thousand kilometers, and we've got Africam's Ol Donyo camera in the Great Plains Conservancy up in southern Kenya. A massive conservancy, well over 100,000 hectares, which is 250,000 acres. And in contrast to the females and their offspring, which you're looking at, here we have 2 enormous bull elephant. This pan yesterday was literally sucked dry. We couldn't see water anymore from our vantage point where we're at now. By the time 5 bull elephant had finished having their drink at this particular waterhole yesterday, and I see that it's managed to fill up overnight, thankfully. And now we have these 2 big boys that have come in, and just look at the size of their bodies compared to those females. You can just get this huge sense of power and bulk. There's a 3rd elephant coming in. Whoop, he got a bit of a fright there. Didn't quite like to be surprised there by that elephant. Gosh, it always surprises me how light they are on their feet when an elephant moves like that. How competent and athletic they actually are. Not these cumbersome, lumbering beasts that, their slow gait and calm demeanor, generally speaking, would highlight. Listen carefully to the slurp and the slosh of the water as they suck it up and blow it into their mouth. It's been worn into the ivory, and that is where we go down there. You'll see that you can see the notch in the ivory, the tip of the ivory, and that is where the elephant will be picking grass. So they'll wrap their trunk around some grass. They will then insert their tusk tip. There you go, the tip of the tusk. They'll insert that into the wrapped grass, and they will then lift their head and pluck the grass out. Not the roots, just break the grass off at the stem, and then bundle it up and shove it into their mouths. And that feeding notch that you see wears into the tusk over time, and can be quite a characteristic of any particular elephant, help you to identify what would otherwise be a grey, wrinkly mass. There you can see that notch again. So the Ellie would curl up the grass with his trunk, insert the tusk underneath the grass, and lift his head up and break the grass off. And over time, that grass wears that elephant tusk down into a notch like you're seeing there. Wow, this camera is amazing. There you can see the water. Can we see the park? Look at that. That is so cool. honestly never fails to astound me how quickly we can go from one habitat in one area to another. And in this particular case, for those of you who are not familiar with the African continent, we've moved thousands of kilometers west. Where we were close to the Indian Ocean, we are now close to the Atlantic Ocean. And the one is Loxodonta africana. The other one is Loxodonta africana cyclotis. And I didn't know where the word cyclotis comes from. But having a look at its skull, the skulls of the two, the cyclotis elephant, so the forest elephant, has a concave depression in their forehead, on their skull, whereas the bush elephant has a convex depression on its skull. And so that's where it possibly comes from, the fact that it looks like an eye, a place for a third eye socket. Wow, some more elephants. So now this is Africam's Naledi Dam, and here we're in the Greater Kruger National Park in the Olifants Game Reserve, Olifants West Game Reserve. It's very different to Madikwe. Madikwe was an area that was re-established as a conservation area and repopulated with animals. Up in Kenya, Ol Donyo, where we're going, is a wilderness area that has had conservation efforts to try and harmonize people and animals. And here we're in the Kruger National Park, which is, look at this, right up. Gosh. Super close. Wow. It's really great. Elephants are so inquisitive. See him. Lifts his trunk. She lifts her trunk. Nerves got to her. I don't know if the camera is making a noise. I doubt the camera is making a noise. Definitely she can't hear my voice. It's got typical for elephants to stand there, sort of facing 360. I'm trying to see, this looks like some young females together. I don't see any babies though. I don't know what that elephant is behind this female.